Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Thank you for joining us and hanging in there for our second half hour. Now, the race to become America's next president is expected to get more crowded. According to multiple reports, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is expected to officially announce his launch in his presidential campaign. That will be next week, we hear. Here's a look at who's already announced their bid for the Republican nomination. Of course, we know former President Donald Trump, former Governor Asa Hutchinson, and Nikki Haley, and businessman Vivek Swamy. DeSantis has been at the center of a lot of contention and controversy since his reign as governor of Florida. But could he actually make waves during his election season? I talked with our political analyst and asked him to weigh in tonight. Our guests are here on The Factor Uncensored. We have with us Angela Box and, of course, Dallas Jones. Now, Angela, this is a personal question for you before we begin and get into Ron DeSantis running for president. But if it was your choice, who would you pick, Trump or DeSantis? Who's your guy?
In 24, Donald Trump. In 28, Ron DeSantis. But for the life of me, I do not know why Ron DeSantis is doing this, because Ron DeSantis is a very intelligent man. And it would seem to me that the people supporting Ron DeSantis, which is the establishment wing of the Republican Party, it would seem to me that he would understand why he's being used as this pawn. He's being used as a pawn to fight with Donald Trump and to split the Republican Party in the primary and to make Donald Trump less viable in the general. And therefore will kneecap Ron DeSantis in 2028 because Donald Trump is going to get the nomination. So, you know, in my heart of hearts, I want Ron DeSantis to sit this one out because I love Ron DeSantis. And if anyone thinks that Ron DeSantis is any different than Donald Trump, they're smoking crack. He's Trump Jr. His policies are exactly the same. So either way, I'm cool. But in 24, I want Donald Trump.
All right, Dallas, are you smoking any crack there? Or do you see a difference between DeSantis and Trump?
I see a big difference. I see that one of them has an actual chance to win the general election. Meanwhile, the other, we would welcome him to be the nominee. A replay of Biden versus Trump, I think will turn out the same. I think, Trump has become a lot even more volatile since he's left the White House. He's come unhinged. And I mean, if Angela would suggest that the Republican Party wants to actually go through a general election where they have to explain lawsuits and they have to explain him being indicted and they have to, this is the American presidency. You want the path of least resistance to get to the White House. Now, they would argue, well, he's been there before, he can get there again. No, he can't get there again because he's been there before and it was a nightmare.
All right, Angela, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, low employment, a secure border, some respect in the world, no wars. Yeah, it was really bad when Trump was president. Now, what's going on right now is you're gaslighting because Joe Biden is an unmitigated disaster. And I pray that this peepaw hangs on long enough for Donald Trump to beat him again in 2024 because it was stolen from him in 2020. He deserves a chance.
There's no again. He didn't beat him the first time. There's no again. So, he didn't beat him the first time, right? One's living in the White House and one's living in a jail cell, Angela.
That sack of potatoes and Senator Mini-Pads got 81 million votes. Yeah. Tell it to someone else who actually believes that. Look,
I'll tell it to the guy that lives in the White House.
Really quick, guys, the Reuters poll came out. The latest shows in GOP voters and Republican voters, they have Trump at 49% and DeSantis at 19%. Mm-hmm. What is that telling us, Dallas?
Well, I mean, the data suggests that, the election hasn't really started. And so I think that, as it takes off, and let's not forget, there are other candidates in the race, Nikki Haley, and I do agree with what Angela says, is that, DeSantis is putting himself forward as more of the moderate choice to return to the old days of the GOP, which he really does not represent, right? But I think his viability is anybody but Trump, and that could launch him into the nomination, and I think it gives them a better shot come November.
And Angela, your thoughts on this latest poll from Reuters putting Trump at 49% and DeSantis at 19% among GOP voters?
Donald Trump is going to win the Republican nomination, and Donald Trump will be the president in 2024. And what Ron DeSantis is not, again, I don't understand for the life of me how he doesn't understand that people like Karl Rove and Jeb Bush do not have his best interests or the Republican Party's best interest. They don't want anything to do with MAGA, anything to do with making America great again, anything to do with the agenda that Donald Trump ran on, and that the agenda that, frankly, Ron DeSantis is governing on. So Ron DeSantis is being not very smart, in my opinion, because it's going to be a brawl between these two heavyweights. And again, I wish that DeSantis would have the 30,000 foot view here and realize that 28 is a better time for him to run.